Hello friends, I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 18th of March and we are going to deal with three very important topics which are in news. The first is political turmoil in Nepal. You know, in Nepal there was a coalition government. The CPN Maoist Center and Nepali Congress were in power. But now CPN Maoist Center and CPN, that is Communist Party of Nepal, Marxist Leninist, this coalition is in power. Now, a Maoist coalition in power definitely will pose challenges for India. But the existing Prime Minister, Mr. Pushpa Kamal Dahal, who belongs to the CPN Maoist Center, is a good friend of India. But the party with which he has come into coalition, CPN UML, the leader of that, KP Sharma Oli, is not a good friend of India. He is a good friend of China. So that is going to be a challenge for India with the new government in Nepal. Next is Eastern Maritime Corridor. This is a proposed corridor between India and Russia, to be specific, Chennai and Vladivostok. This was proposed in the year 2018 and this has to be completed and transit has to happen or to start happening on this route. Why? Because the Red Sea crisis, they are extending and looming large, which is happening to be the existing trade route between India and Russia. This Eastern Maritime Corridor will not only reduce the trade time, but it will definitely reduce the cost also. And next is Predictive AI. We might have heard about generative AI, in which you enter an input and the machine generates a response for you. That response can be in the form of a text, video, message, or something like this. But predictive AI is one step ahead. On the existing large language models, that machine is predicting future models. That is so advanced. That is predictive AI. Although those predictions can fail at times also, but yes, it has that capacity to predict about the future. I would say the things about the future which can be there or which should be there. So this is why it is in news, and let us look into these three topics one by one. Now, when I talk about political turmoil in Nepal, so Nepal as a country is not politically stable. Nepal adopted a constitution in 2015. General elections were conducted in 2017. A new government was established. That was a coalition government that was not able to survive till 2020. In 2021, there were elections, and 2022, another government was formed. That was a coalition government. Now, that coalition government, since the last year, has faced multiple challenges. Three times the confidence motion has to be passed in the Parliament of Nepal in the last 1 year. Although confidence was gained every time. But the need to pass confidence motions in the Parliament clearly highlights the fact that the political instability in Nepal is quite high. And now also there was this confidence vote. This was the third in the last 1 year. A new coalition government is into picture now. So we will see which political parties are there, what is the kind of coalition they are forming. But as of now, we will see this. Nepal's Prime Minister, Mr. Pushpa Kamal Dahal Prachanda, won a vote of confidence in the 275-member lower house parliament last week, securing the support of 157 of the 268 MPs who were present. Why was the vote of confidence seek? That is a big question. This was the third won by Prachanda in a little over a year. It took place after the Prime Minister, Mr. Prachanda, broke his party's alliance with Nepali Congress. Now here only we will see what kind of political parties are there and all. So one is Prachanda, Prime Minister. He broke his party's alliance with Nepali Congress. So Pushpa Kamal Dahal Prachanda's party is Communist Party of Nepal Maoist Center. This is his party. Then there is another person named as Sher Bahadur Deuba. He belongs to the Nepali Congress. So these two political parties, CPN Maoist Center and Nepali Congress, were in coalition till now. They were running the government. He was the Prime Minister. Pushpa, Kamal, Dahal, Prachanda. Now this coalition was broken, and there is the third party which is called as Communist Party of Nepal, Unified Marxist Leninist, UML. This party is, the leader is KP Sharma Oli. Now, a coalition between these two parties have been formed, and that is why this vote of confidence was sought in the lower house of Nepal. Now, according to the constitution of Nepal, even if you have this coalition formed, you are having majority number of seats, you have to, as a formality sake, pass a vote of confidence in this parliament, lower house of the parliament. So earlier this coalition broke off. Now Prachanda with CPN UML, this coalition is now into power. Communist means more inclination towards China. This person, Pushpa Kamal Dahal Prachanda, is a good friend of India. He shares good rapport with India. But KP Sharma Oli, who is his new partner in coalition right now, is not a good friend of India. So we will see why. But yes, from 2017 till now, we will see the political developments. So most of it you might have understood, but yes, chronology has to be understood clearly. In 2017, Communist Party of Nepal, formed by the merger of CPN UML and CPN Maoist, means the present coalition, CPN UML and CPN Maoist, which is there presently in the government, which has just passed the vote of confidence in the lower house of the Parliament of Nepal, was also in power in 2017. It came to power in 2017. At that time, KP Sharma Oli became the PM, not Prachanda. So it was this. In 2020, protests were ongoing by some factions to establish Nepal as a constitutional monarchy again and a Hindu nation. Now, there are certain elements in the Nepalese society presently also which are wanting Nepal to be established as a Hindu nation, not a secular nation. And there was an editorial written a few weeks ago in one of the newspapers of Nepal, where that person who was writing that editorial was claiming that Nepali Congress is into this thing that it wants to spread this word that we are a Hindu Rashtra or we are a Hindu nation. Then in 2021, KP Sharma Oli government was dissolved in May 2021. Sher Bahadur Deoba of Nepali Congress became the Prime Minister on 13 July 2021 as ordered by the Supreme Court of Nepal, because he was having the maximum number of seats in the parliament. Again, elections were conducted. When elections were conducted, CPN Maoist of Pushpa Kamal Dahal Prachanda forms coalition government with Nepali Congress. This government was there right now, which got dissolved because this coalition was called off, and CPN Maoist has formed a coalition with Communist Party of Nepal, Unified Marxist Leninist of KP Sharma Oli to form the government. Now, how does this political development in Nepal impact India? That is something which needs to be understood. Now, this is being watched with a mix of caution and admiration from India. Caution because KP Sharma Oli is there, part of that coalition. Admiration because we have good rapport with Prachanda. So there is a mix. Prachanda retains significant goodwill in New Delhi. His now partner in government, Oli, does not. Now, why Oli is not a good friend of India? So, as I told you that Nepal passed its constitution in 2015. While passing its constitution or while adopting its constitution, there were certain roadblocks for Nepal. Actually, in Nepal, the southern Terai region over here, There lives this Madhesya community. And with this Madhesya community, we share a roti beti ka rishta, means we have economic as well as marital ties with them, cultural ties with them. Their concerns were not being addressed by the new constitution which was getting formed. They are around 30%, 30 to 35% of the total population, these Madhesyas, but the drawing of political boundaries was such that they were in minority in every state which was being drawn. So that was their concern, and India actually was voicing their concern with the constitution makers of Nepal, the Pahadi community, which is the dominant community politically over there. And in that pursuit, there was this infamous blockade done by India as well. So this in 2015, protests were there, and infamous border blockade by India had caused a fair bit of bitterness in South Bloc. Oli, who was Prime Minister then in 2015, portrayed India as the neighborhood bully in his country. That is why we do not share a good rapport with Oli. So, this is how it can impact Nepal's relations with India. There are multiple areas of cooperation between India and Nepal. No doubt about the fact. See, first of all, Nepal is a landlocked country and is dependent upon India for its international trade. Almost all of its international exports and imports happen through India. They transit through India. We have signed a trade and transit agreement with them, through which, or according to which, we do not charge anything for their transit. We allow free of cost transit for Nepali goods. Now, it is dependent on India for its international trade. Politicians in Nepal have often described the country as being India locked. Nepal is India locked, they say. Means they are dependent upon Indians or Indian ports for import and export. Meaning it needs India for access to ports. A fact of geography that Indian diplomats prefer to frame as being India open. The Indian diplomats which are posted over there, they always say that India is open for Nepal always. And India has proved it also with time, because of that trade and transit agreement by providing free transit. And actually, during that infamous blockade in 2015, India and Nepal border was blockaded. However, we cannot say this that government of India, did that blockade. Government of Nepal believes that government of India does. But India says that the Madhesyas there in the border regions, they are not allowing goods to get transported. How can we send? If we send the goods, they will destroy the goods. So it is better not to send. This was kind of position which was portrayed by government of India at that time. So it is like this. The trade between India and Nepal, the Indian Foreign Policy Establishment points out that the trade is $7 billion in FY 2019-20. And obviously, India exports more to Nepal as compared to importing. India provides transit for almost all of Nepal's third country trade. Indian exports to Nepal have grown more than 8 times over the past decade, while exports from Nepal have almost doubled to India. Cooperation during COVID, we sent a lot of help to Nepal during COVID, and not only Nepal, we sent help to many countries all across the world. And specifically talking about Nepal, assistance of more than $7 million to Nepal was given, which included supply of more than 23 tons of medicines and medical equipments, more than 9.5 million doses of vaccines, and a medical oxygen plant. This was all given by India to Nepal. Now, people to people connect, because see, when we have to define our relationship with Nepal, we simply use one line, that is roti beti ka rishta we have with Nepal. So about 8 million Nepalese citizens live and work in India, and some 6 lakh Indians live in Nepal. So around 80 lakh Nepalese are living here, 6 lakh Indians living in Nepal. So in terms of number, they are dominating over us. More number of Nepalese are staying over here. But we have to see it in proportion of the total population. Total population of India, 140 crores. Out of 140 crore, 80 lakh are Nepalese. Just a minuscule. But these 6 lakh Indians definitely are a larger proportion of population of Nepal. So Nepalese feel that Indians are dominating us. I'll show you one more parameter through which you will see that how Indians are dominating Nepalese. Indians are about 30% of foreign tourists in Nepal. The bilateral remittance flow, this is that parameter which I was talking about. Bilateral remittance flow is estimated at $3 billion from Nepal to India. So these 6 lakh Indians living in Nepal send $3 billion to India yearly to their family members. And these 80 lakh Nepalese in India send only $1 billion from India to Nepal as remittances. So this clearly highlights the domination. And cooperation in power, water, and infrastructure has been a major element. Now, lately, cooperation in power generation, hydroelectric power generation to be specific, is quite popular. Waterways connectivity is gaining more and more, I would say, traction between India and Nepal. 2023, the Nepalese Prime Minister visited Mr. Pushpa Kamal Dahal, Prachanda. He visited, and during his visit, a lot of talk about water connectivity, waterways connectivity, and hydroelectric power generation in Nepal by Indian companies have to be initiated. Some 10,000 megawatt of tenders has been granted by Nepalese government for the Indian companies to generate hydroelectric power in Nepal, just like we are doing it in Bhutan. But it is not so easy as it seems like, because we have this dragon in the north, and that poses challenges to India's increasing geostrategic footprint in South Asia, that is China. So Nepal is sandwiched between the two Asian giants, and the Nepalese political leadership, including country's former monarchs, they used to play that China card with India. Nepal's largest trading partner is India. Nepal's international trade happens through India. So Nepal's dependency upon India is immense. But at times, when India was taking a tough stand with Nepal, then Nepal used to play the China card with us. Playing the China card simply means that Nepalese used to say, Acha India, you are not doing this. We'll go to the Chinese, they will do this. So, India did not want the Chinese influence to grow in Nepal, and obviously the Chinese also don't want the Indian influence to grow in Nepal. And Nepal takes advantage of this situation at times. China has been pouring aid and investment in the infrastructure to wean Kathmandu away from New Delhi. Now, an example in this context is the Trans-Himalayan Multimodal Connectivity Network, which is basically a multimodal route, road connectivity, rail connectivity, waterways connectivity from China to Nepal. And this Trans-Himalayan Multimodal Connectivity Network ends in Lumbini, the birthplace of Lord Buddha. Our Buddhist circuit also ends in Lumbini. So we announced Buddhist circuit and they announced that. This clearly highlights that they symbolically want to, counter India's presence in Nepal. The Chinese, they want to counter. Now with Oli, who has clear China leanings, back in government in Kathmandu, New Delhi would be keenly watching the expected efforts by Beijing to play a more active and influential role in Nepal's domestic affairs. So now is going to be a kind of situation which can be challenging for us. A way forward for India and Nepal as of now, India needs to step up cooperation with Nepal in maximum areas, and India's development and economic aid must remain open. Actually, investment is dying in Nepal. A lot of people, Nepalese, they are migrating out of Nepal due to this political instability. Lack of jobs is there. So we need to, cooperate with Nepal so that the government over there can tackle these kind of problems. New Delhi's position on the politics and future of Nepal must remain nuanced and flexible with the people of Nepal at its center. India must ensure that China or its proxies do not get an opportunity to ride on suspicion or prejudice against India, like in Maldives. And more than an elder brother, India should seek to be an equal partner for Nepal that would definitely help India gain the trust of not only the politicians or political establishment in Nepal, but most importantly, the people of Nepal. So, this should be the way forward for India as of now. Next is Eastern Maritime Corridor. The Red Sea crisis, they are still continuing. The Red Sea crisis, unfortunately, through this Red Sea, Suez Canal and all passes through this particular region, passes the existing trade route, maritime trade route between India and Russia. So it has impacted, India-Russia trade as well. And India-Russia trade in the last few years have gone up multiple times, especially owing to the increasing energy imports from Russia. So we are looking for alternate trade routes, and one such alternate trade route, which was announced in the year 2018, has to come into picture right now, or has to be functional now. It is proposed, but it has to be functional, and that trade route is from Chennai to Vladivostok. This will connect India with Far East Russia and obviously will help us gain countries like China, South Korea, and Japan, which are important or crucial trade partners of India. So this trade route is shorter trade route. It is somewhere around 5,647 nautical miles. The one which is going through Suez Canal, Red Sea, is a longer trade route, 8,675 nautical miles. So this is shorter also. It will reduce the span. It will reduce the cost of transportation as well. So that has to be functional. That is, now here in this we can see the existing trade route and the proposed trade route. Now existing trade route here is basically Red Sea. So here is the problem, and another problem is that it is too long, 8675 nautical miles it is, whereas this proposed trade route is only 5647 nautical miles. So this has to become functional as soon as possible. We will be able to bypass all these kind of complexities over here in West Asia. We will also be able to reduce the transit time. Now about this Eastern Maritime Corridor, proposed sea route between Indian port of Chennai and Russian port of Vladivostok. As mentioned by me, 2018 it was proposed. Once complete, it will take 24 days, down from the presently over 40 days, to transport goods from India to Far East Russia. So it takes 40 days for goods to reach from India to Far East Russia. If it is functional, it will take only 24 days. The Eastern Maritime Corridor will cover a distance of about 5600 nautical miles, 56 something nautical miles it is there, as we saw 5647 nautical miles, and which is significantly shorter than the current route via Suez Canal. The current route via Suez Canal is 8675 nautical miles. So obviously it is shorter. Now for India, it will provide a shorter and more efficient route to access the markets of Far East such as China and Japan, and I would like to add South Korea also over here. So this is the benefit of this route. It has to be operational as soon as possible. Now the last topic is predictive AI. As the name suggests, it will predict the future. However, it will not predict the future, or it will not predict the future models. It will not build a castle in the air. It will have some basis. It will have some, I would say, historical data, trends, and analyzing that historical data and trends, it will create a future model. It will predict a future model. This is what predictive AI is capable of. It refers to machine learning to identify patterns in past events and make predictions about future events. Now, unlike conventional AI, it predominantly focuses on analyzing historical information. Predictive AI operates on a visionary principle, and that visionary principle is the ability to foresee and forecast future events. Like, for example, the present trends of climate change, and artificial intelligence will take into account the amount of emissions we are doing and the amount of efforts we are doing to tackle these emissions, climate change. And keeping all these in mind and assessing all these things, it will generate, or it can generate, future models that by 2030 this can be there, or this will be there. By 2040 this will be there with respect to climate change and all. So these kind of predictions can be done. Now, at its essence, this cutting edge technology harnesses the power of advanced algorithms and machine learning models to scrutinize vast data sets, identifying integrate patterns, correlations, and trends that might elude human perception. So, it has that capacity. How does predictive AI work? It sources its data from big data. In statistics, more data generally results in more accurate analysis. Similarly, predictive AI requires access to vast quantities of data, that is big data. Machine learning. These are some, I would say, core components of artificial intelligence. Machine learning is a subset of AI and method of training a computer program to identify data without human intervention. So, this machine is trained in such a way that it will pick up data from the past, analyze it, and what are going to be the future predictions for with respect to these data sets. It will predict, and it will learn with time. The more number of, I would say, work is done on it, the more learnings will be there. A predictive AI model can process huge data sets without human supervision. Then identifying patterns. Predictive AI learns to associate certain types of data or certain occurrences. It can look at hundreds or thousands of factors to identify patterns which indicate events that can recur in the future. So just coming back to that example of climate change, as I said, so it will definitely take into account the patterns. Patterns means what are the patterns of emissions? Are they increasing? Are they decreasing? At what point of time they are increasing? At what point of time they are decreasing? What efforts have been undertaken? What have been the results of those efforts? What efforts are lined up to be taken? What probable impacts can happen due to those efforts? So considering all these things, predictive AI can result or can produce future models or predict future models of climate change or global warming, that this is going to happen. This is how predictive AI will be functioning. The probable usage of predictive AI, where predictive AI can be used: predicting extreme weather events and its after effects. Now, this is a news in the Indian Express where a volcano has erupted, and it is causing extreme weather events. And now when the volcano has erupted, people are searching that whether the flights will be disrupted or not. So and this is not the first time volcanoes have erupted in that region. That is somewhere, I think, in Iceland or something like this. So by using predictive AI, we can assess that last time also a volcano erupted, this much was the eruptions. Now this time also a volcano has erupted, these are the eruptions, how much time it will take to settle down and all. So we can predict things according to these predictive AI models with respect to extreme weather events. Then oil and gas exploration. Definitely this is going to be, this domain can be beneficial. Climate change impacts, I've been mentioning this example. Medicinal research, definitely yes, it can impact, because what are going to be the genetic makeups or genetical developments and all can be predicted by AI. Urban planning and demographics, both these are related, because we know how, with the rate at which the population is increasing, and what is going to be the future of the population. So accordingly we can plan the cities and all. So in all these domains, predictive AI can be used, and this is something which is a very good use of a technology like artificial intelligence. And with this, I end today's session. I will be meeting you tomorrow now with more such informative news pieces. Till then, you guys very well know what to do. Keep studying, keep reading, keep writing, and most importantly, keep revising. Namaste. Jai Hind.